Hi everybody, I'm Paul Swangart. We're here in downtown Portland at the corner of 4th and Salmon, where inside this building sits more than 100 years of Oregon sports history. It is the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame Museum. Let's go inside and take a look.
Oregon athletes have made a significant contribution to the world of sports. Whether a coach, a team, or an individual player, the athletic feats of Oregonians have broken new records, set new heights, and they have used their ingenuity to take the world of sports to a new level. The state has a rich history of professional and collegiate sports, including hockey, basketball, track and field, swimming, skiing, and rodeo. The Oregon Sports Hall of Fame was built to honor these men and women for their contributions to the state's rich sports history.
For more than 20 years, the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame has been celebrating the teams, the athletes, and the stories of more than 100 years of Oregon sports. So stick around. Over the next half hour, we'll talk about some of the special memorabilia inside these cases, talk to a few of the athletes who have been enshrined, and have more here from the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame right after this. We start our tour of the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame with a look at the professional franchises, and can't help but start with the one team that really is equated with the state of Oregon. That's the Portland Trail Blazers of the NBA. 30 years of rich basketball history here. You can see Jeff Petrie's old number 45 jersey and the basketball signed by the 1992 Western Conference champions. But certainly, if there is one moment in time for the Portland Trail Blazers that all fans talk about, it's the 1977 World Championship against the Philadelphia 76ers. And if we talk about the crown jewel of the collection, it's this guy. You may recognize Bill Walton, but if you look a little closer, you may also recognize what he's wearing. And if you don't recognize it, here's a little help. In the midst of that celebration at Memorial Coliseum after the victory over the Sixers, Bill Walton tears off his jersey and throws it into the crowd, and it went missing for almost 9 years. That is until the Hall of Fame opened up this museum at 4th and Salmon, put an ad in the paper looking for the jersey, and sure enough, a gentleman in Portland brought in a shoebox, and inside, this very jersey that now sits on permanent display. While most people think Blazers basketball when they think of professional sports in Oregon, the sport of baseball has more on professional basketball when you talk about Oregon history. In fact, baseball here dates back to the early 1900s. We had players in the major leagues like Bobby Doerr and Dale Murphy. Also had teams like the Portland Beavers from the old Pacific Coast League, later the Rockies from the Single-A Northwest League, and now in the refurbished PGA Park, the former Civic Stadium, we have the AAA Portland Beavers again. But if you really want a taste of vintage baseball, come here to the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. Before Civic Stadium, there was old Vaughn Park, and here, a chance to sit in 2 of the original seats. Believe it or not, the one professional sport with a rich history in Oregon is the game of hockey. Early in the 1900s, the Portland Rosebuds were actually the first American team to compete for the Stanley Cup. Later on, it was the Portland Buckaroos, and more recently, the Portland Winterhawks, continuing to keep that tradition of professional hockey alive and highlighted by their 1998 Memorial Cup victory. If there is one college sport that has put Oregon on the world sports map, it is track and field. And arguably the most notable athlete from the track and field community is the late Steve Prefontaine, who came out of Marshfield High School in Coos Bay and went on to a stellar athletic career at the University of Oregon. Here we can see some of his uniforms and his shoes from his competitions, and also here you can sit back and watch what some say is still the greatest 5,000-meter Olympic race ever run in the 1972 Munich Games, in which Steve Prefontaine finished fourth. On the women's side of track and field, several stellar Oregonians stand out, including Margaret Johnson Bales, who set a world record as a high school student in 1968, and Eugene's Mary Slaney, the most decorated female American distance runner. Here she has her 1,500 and 3,000-meter spikes from the Helsinki World Championships, both first-place finishes for her in 1983. Two other Oregonians in track and field are most known for their innovations of the sport. Oregon State grad Dick Fosbury coined the Fosbury flop style of high jumping to win the 1968 gold medal in Mexico City. And the late Bill Bowerman coached dozens of All-Americans at the University of Oregon, but probably best known for taking his wife's waffle iron and experimenting with track shoes, and developed a prototype that, along with one of his former runners, Phil Knight, turned into a little company called Nike. While not known for his exploits as an NFL quarterback, Oregon State's Terry Baker does own probably the best individual accomplishment by a collegiate athlete in Oregon sports history. This is the 1962 Heisman Trophy he won, and while a quarterback at Oregon State, was also named Sportsman of the Year that year from Sports Illustrated, and Terry has made this available on permanent display here for viewing at the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. When you're here at the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame, make sure you take some time to learn about some of the other athletes and some of the other non-traditional sports, like the sport of rodeo, where Larry Mahan, the Brooks, Oregon native, was a 6-time all-round rodeo cowboy champion. Or Bill Johnson learned how to ski out at Mount Hood, went on to take home the 1984 gold medal in the downhill in the Games of Sarajevo. Also an Olympic gold medalist, 4-time gold medalist at the 1964 Games in Tokyo, Don Scholander in the pool, one of many great Oregonians in the sport of swimming. And most of us think of the great races at Portland International Raceway, but clearly the Indy 500 can't get much better than that. And Len Sutton, another Oregonian, competed there 7 times, including a 2nd-place finish back in 1962.
With Sutton winning second, the victory is complete for Ward, Watson, Wilkie, and Sutton. For this is the first time since 1948 that a team has finished 1-2 at Indianapolis.
One of the major sports getting a lot of attention the last few years has been the game of golf here in Oregon. Includes 2000 U.S. amateur champ Jeff Quinney. We can talk about new courses like Bandon Dunes and Pumpkin Ridge. And old Oregon graduate Peter Jacobson, well, he put together a little tournament that he calls Peter's Party that has become one of the signature events of the summer. So wandering through the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame one afternoon, one has to wonder what it would take to get enshrined in this Hall of Fame. Well, we decided to ask a few that have. And when we come back, we'll sit down with 3 Oregon Hall of Famers, talk about their memories of their athletic history and what it means to be part of this Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. There's more to come, so stay with us. Welcome back to the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. I'm Paul Swangard. Since 1980, several hundred members now inducted into this hall. Individual athletes, several teams, and very special people who have made special contributions to the state of Oregon and their sports community. We have sat down with three members of the Hall of Fame: Lavelle Stoynoff, the Masters swimmer, former Oregon State basketball great Charlie Sitton, and Eddie Basinski, one of the longtime greats in baseball for the Portland Beavers. Talk to them about what it means to be part of this Hall of Fame.
Born and raised in Portland, Lavelle started swimming at the age of 12. And in 1952, she hit the big time at the age of 12 by participating in the Olympic trials.
I joined the team with Al Seahorn, and I swam with him till I was 18, 19, and had a few records.
She retired from swimming when she was only 20, but picked it up 24 years later at the age of 44. Lavelle started back up in competition after helping her daughter's swim team at the Multnomah Athletic Club. Turns out the talent was still there, just waiting to be tapped.
I broke my first national record, I think, when I was 45.
What started as a plan to stay healthy and active, swimming quickly turned competitive for Lavelle. She started winning matches and beating national records in the Masters category. She established state records in every competitive stroke. And by the time she was 56, she held the national records in short and long course swimming, 3 world records in her previous age group, and 4 in her current age group. For the last 9 years, Lavelle has been voted the most outstanding female master swimmer in the state of Oregon by the Masters Swimming Association. For the last 18 years, an All-American for the United States Masters Swimming Association, and she holds 9 world records in long-distance swimming. But even with those types of awards, Lavelle was still surprised and humbled at her induction into the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame.
I was so shocked to be nominated, and I was the first master swimmer ever to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was such a privilege just to be honored, and I just couldn't believe that I had gotten that far, and when they called me or wrote the letter, I just almost fell off my seat.
But Lavelle's work goes on. She now uses her time and fame to inspire and motivate those around her.
There's a lot of hard work that goes into the Hall of Fame. Didn't realize how much that we promote sports until I got inducted. And they've asked me to go out and talk to children in the grade school and into care centers. And I think this is a way of kind of promoting our sport. Not only that, what our Hall of Fame is all about. And I think we're quite well known for a Hall of Fame. And I think it's wonderful what they're doing. It's like a big, happy family here, working together.
Charlie Sitton was raised on a farm near McMinnville, Oregon. His strong work ethic, athletic skill, height, and desire to compete converged when he attended McMinnville High School in the early 1980s. He led that high school basketball team to a state championship with a winning record of 39-0. After high school, choosing a college to play for was an easy choice.
Was fortunate enough to be very highly recruited, had probably an opportunity to go pretty much anywhere I wanted to in the country to play basketball. Ended up going to Oregon State. Timing was good. They were coming off of a very good season. And Dwayne Allen had just graduated, so that was kind of the spot that I was hoping to play, small forward, big forward, whatever. And they were very good. They were ranked in the top 10 in the country.
While at Oregon State, he played for the legendary Ralph Miller. He started in every game but one and was an All-American as a junior. And after college, it was on to the NBA.
Went on, got drafted in the second round by Dallas Mavericks, played 2 years down there. Didn't play a lot, bunch of forwards, timing, everything's timing in the NBA. But I was able to be a part of it for 2 years, and then I went to Europe and played for 5 years over there. In Italy, 3 years, a year in Spain, and a year in France, and a year in Belgium.
After retiring from basketball, Charlie moved back to Portland and began his own business. But in 1997, it was his exploits on the court that led to his induction in the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame.
Being from the state of Oregon and then being inducted into such a Hall of Fame with the players that are around me here that you see on the walls and stuff it's a neat feeling.
Charlie has found that being in the Hall of Fame helps his legacy live on, inspiring future generations to work hard and reach for their goals.
And it's neat the what they've done here in the Hall of Fame, and to open it up for kids so they can see the success, not only of myself, which obviously not too many people recognize my name probably anymore, but like, you know, the Waltons and the, you know, the Salazars and the people, the Phil Knights, the guys that have done so much for the state of Oregon for sports. And it's really special to be a part of it.
Raised in Buffalo, New York, Eddie Baczynski was the first professional player in the history of baseball to go from the city leagues to the majors, playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers without ever playing in high school or college.
Believe it or not, Ripley had me in their national syndication and listed what I did as a 10 million to 1 shot. It's never been done by another ball player, going from the Sandlots of Buffalo, New York, directly to the Brooklyn Dodgers of the National League, Major Leagues, played regular, and was leading the league in hitting after 2 weeks with a 389 average. Of course, there's a reason for that, because nobody knew who the hell I was or where I came from, so the pitchers had no idea. And wearing glasses, they said, "Don't walk him." That's the way they attacked me. I was a good first ball hitter, and that's accounted for that 389 average.
Through a series of trades, Eddie wound up in the Pacific Coast League playing for the Portland Beavers.
I stayed here for 10 years and was quite lucky to be able, I had to fight for my job every spring. Some young buck was always coming along, said, "Granddaddy, I'm gonna put you on the bench." I said, "Okay, let's see what happens."
Over a decade with the Beaver Baseball Club, Eddie set all kinds of records. He played over 1,400 games, more than any other player in the history of the club. He set a record for playing in every inning of 202 regular season games. He held the Pacific Coast League record of 66 consecutive games as a second baseman without an error. He participated in 8 triple plays, hit 8 Grand Slam home runs, set 5 double play records, and holds a lifetime batting average of .271. But even with all those credentials, he remains humble about being inducted into the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame.
I feel very honored to be among the group of these great athletes. It's not easy to get into this hall. You really have to have the credentials. So, but boy, for me, that was it. I can walk with my head high, and I don't care, you know, who or what's being said.
Even though he's long been retired from the sport of baseball, Eddie continues to promote the game in Portland.
And I hope that baseball prospers here in Portland, because it was a great experience for me.
As well as promoting the hall to Oregonians.
The fans and the citizens of Portland and Oregon really should realize how proud they should be of the great athletes that have come from this state. I'm talking about nationwide competition. If they would come down here, they would have a feeling of great pride to know how they're represented by some of the greatest athletes that ever played in all the sports. They cover the whole spectrum of sports. I feel so honored to be listed with these guys.
When we return, we'll take a look at what's to see and do here at the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame. I'm Paul Swangard. You know, one of the great things about this place, beyond the memories and the memorabilia, is a chance to get hands-on with sports and some sports activities. So we sat down with director Janice Carter, who told us why one of the important aspects of this museum is a chance to be interactive.
You can come down, you can catch a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. You can test your skills against that of a disabled athlete in a racing wheelchair. You can see how fast you can get it going. You can shoot some hoops. You can play some ping pong, foosball, and the kids come down and just have a great time. They get a great tour through and everything.
You got it, Tucky.
We designed it in mind that in the evenings we'd like to rent it out. It's a great place to have parties at. We do a lot of anniversary parties, birthday parties, corporate events, sales campaign kickoffs. You know, we have a variety of clients from the, you know, the high-tech companies, and it's just so much fun to come in because we have all of the interactive exhibits built in. You don't need anything extra. And we have a great a retail store, so we get a lot of people that just come in and shop in our store. Old replicas like Portland Buckaroos, it's become real popular, and we have t-shirts and replicas of their jerseys and things from when they played in the WHL, and so we have a lot of one-of-a-kind things. Each year when we induct our class of inductees, we ask them to give us something, and a lot of their stuff remains on display for a year, and a lot of it they give to us. Because we have a football that I just love. It's from the 1962 World Champion Green Bay Packers. It's autographed by the whole team, including Coach Vince Lombardi and other great old Packers like Ray Nitschke. And we have a basketball from the 1939, the first time the NCAA had a contested national basketball championship. And it was won by the University of Oregon, and their nicknames were the Tall Furs. We get a lot of people actually from around the world that will come in when they're here in town because we have a lot of Steve Prefontaine memorabilia. And we have his Letterman's jacket. We have videos that we show. You can come in and watch his race at the 72 Munich Games and watch that. You know, he's kind of in a case. We have him with Bill Bowerman as track coach from the University of Oregon. So we've kind of put them together into one display case.
We hope you've enjoyed our look at the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame and Museum. A reminder, the induction ceremonies are held each fall, and this location, the museum at 4th and Salmon in downtown Portland, is open to the public 7 days a week, except for major holidays. So, for everyone here at the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame, I'm Paul Swangard.
For more information on the Oregon Sports Hall of Fame, you can visit their website at www.oregonsportshall.org. or call them at 503-227-7466.